Are in what they call the forgetful stage. From August, when you were in your full potential as a aspect of God, so to speak, you then begin to die. It's the dying of the light. And so you die through the fall into December. And when you get to December, this is the point of where you look at the trees and you see all the bark and everything, the leaves have gone, so the forgetfulness has already happened. Excuse me. So what happens is that the sun, to a lot of the religious leaders, represented their journey of the soul. Sun, the soul is soul, soul the sun. So what happened is that when you get to December, finally something dies. The part of aspect of you that grew in the spring is now dead. You are now going to be renewed. But it's a very interesting thing between the 21st of December and the 25th of December is an extremely powerful point. And many of the cultures of the world had their leaders born at this time. Krishna, what do we say, Osiris, Christ, etc., etc. And whether they actually were born at this time is irrelevant. The point was that they wanted to associate themselves with this particular point because now the soul is free from matter. Okay? You following? Yes. Anyway, so what happens is,
it's so interesting, sorry.
Thank you. The point is, today, the sun will go into Capricorn. Capricorn is the earth sign that is the densest it can be. It rules lead, okay, heaviness, weight, okay? And what happens is this is the doorway or portal of where the soul or the energy is extracted from matter and is now free to go free. So between now and the 25th, it's really a good time to do a lot of metaphysical sort of meditation, prayer, whatever it is you want to do. But the point is that these leaders want to be associated with the fact that they were pure spirit, that they weren't connected to matter. Now, the interesting thing is that, without me going through the whole zodiac, the point is that when you get to September, you are in the Scorpio. I can talk forever, believe me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows me.
Yeah, and so can all of us.
All of us, yeah.
Know where it comes from.
Okay. So the point is that when you go through the fall and you're beginning to go through the veil of forgetfulness from the personality of the Leo, you get to this point in the Scorpio, which is an amazing sign. It's death and regeneration. And it's the point of where we give birth to ourselves. This is not necessarily we give birth to another person or create bodies for incoming souls. So the point is that when you get to Scorpio, Scorpio decides what has to regenerate. And it is your process of dying that keeps you alive. It's the paradox. Okay? If your cells don't regenerate, you will literally die. And that's what will happen in Capricorn. But the point is you do. Your cells have to regenerate, and the old cells die for you to live. So that's the whole concept of the virgin birth. Okay? So then you get into Capricorn. And Capricorn is the densest you can get. In the tarot card, it's the devil card. And the devil card rules matter.
Any Capricorns here?
There, he's a Capricorn.
Devil.
There you go. No, it's a very practical sign. All right, just to let you know, we can't live without this. We have the polarity of the devil and Satan and God and everything else. But the point is you cannot live without the Saturnian energy because it rules your skeletal system, it rules your skin. And if we didn't have this, we'd be a puddle on the ground. So we do need that form. So it is a limitation. It's a sign of limitations, and it's extremely dense, very, very heavy. So what happens is at this gateway, suddenly from the fall, where the trees give off the leaves and the twigs and the things that does not want anymore, the death of that, out of that is reborn something else. Now, because this is a dense... what do I say, an incoming fixed sign, where the sun went out in an outward motion in the spring, in the fall, in this time, it is now an ingoing thing. So what is happening, you're intensifying and you're concentrating, okay? So the concentration means that if you take a tree, the fruit that was the beautiful fruit in the fall is now the nut or the seed. And what happens is you concentrate into the kernel of the seed. So you're concentrating at this time in the kernel of who you all are. And this is a time of really being quiet, meditative, indrawing. It's the indrawing time. So what happens is that was the death of the soul. And in the mythology from the northern hemisphere, when you see the sun leaving, we talk about the cross being, hung on the cross, crucified on the cross. But from the northern hemisphere, the idea was the sun disappears over the ecliptic, and it goes down to the southern hemisphere, to the southern cross. So the sun is crucified on the southern cross. There it is reborn and comes back again as a reborn, and the sun returns. Oh. So sun is the journey of the soul. So the sun and soul are related. And so that was the mythology, if you understood. If at this time you can take some time to prepare your kernel or your seed, you will become new again in the spring and be born again. And that's how the whole process works. Because when we, in Pluto, in the Scorpio, the Pluto sign is the sign of Hades, the god of the underworld. But the reason is that all things that we value come from under the ground. Oil, diamonds, the root vegetables, whatever you want to say, that's the thing that we value most as humans. So the thing is that this is where we call the, where you are Christed or oiled or anointed at this time, because in the concentration of who you are becomes free ultimately when you get back to the spring and the energies come back. So this is the death and regeneration that constantly goes over. In the physical aspects of what is going on, the cells of the body are dying to be renewed, and that's a virgin birth. It is not created by anything. You're not creating souls or bodies with a female or whatever for an incoming soul. This is how you reproduce yourself. So Saturn, or the planet that rules Capricorn, which is this particular period of time, rules all the containers. It rules structures. If you have any Capricorn children, they love erector sex. They love to grow and build and create, right? So that's why we need that particular sign, but at the same time we have this breaking down situation of where the death of the old falls away and the new is reborn in the kernel or the fruit or the seed. And that's what the whole concept is of the solstice, is that this is now the gateway, we call it the gateway, where the soul now is free from the material world to spend some time in spirit and regeneration, and to come back again finally in the springtime. Okay?